Hey, Pan.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, good. Thank you, man. Welcome back to Wrongman's podcast.
Yeah,
Obviously, we have the second test starting tonight. I'm really excited. It's going to be a day and night. It's going to be the ping ball test, and obviously, with what happened with like in the first test, I
yeah,
think all the Indian supporters are really shoved. They looking forward to this test.
absolutely, man.
What What are your initial thoughts? Obviously, I just want to remind you, and obviously, if any of our audience would watch this, your initial prediction start of the series was 3-2. Do you still want to stick to that, or you having second thoughts?
uh 3-2 is like the most likely outcome. It might be 4-1 as well.
4-1 to India?
Yeah, 4-1 to India might be. It also depends on the injury as well. So 3-2
Yeah.
was based on the injury concerns and like what has happened with the previous test matches where India has gone, right? So
Hmm.
if there is no injury, then they might even have 4-1. But
Okay.
if they injury like key bowlers, like especially Bumrah, I if he plays all the five test matches, then there's a good chance that we'll get a 4-1 or a 4-0 as well. Maybe Sydney might they might draw in Sydney. That's
Sure.
one place where there's a good chance for them to draw. Adelaide, because even in Adelaide, you there was a good chance that in Adelaide they could draw, but because it's a pink ball test,
Hmm.
Adelaide won't. You'll get a result, right? So good thing is I think so. Josh Hazelwood is not playing, so there's a good chance now
Yeah,
because
absolutely right. So we'll go into
we'll
the
discuss that.
squads in a little
We
bit,
will
but
discuss
obviously,
that
so
in detail. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, we'll go into that in a little bit detail. But yeah, another piece I just want to call out, obviously since we started the podcast, I was just thinking about it, going back to I just want to say now this probably makes us sound old, but can you think about it, 15, 16 years ago when we first met in Glasgow, we were actually playing the tennis ball cricket like
Yeah.
on those in those like local parks.
Yes.
And then fast forward 6 7 years later, we started having our own team and we played in the last man chance league, and our team back then was wrong ones.
Yes.
Yeah, even though we didn't have a lot of right results, but as a team, we were wrong ones, and that's another time we actually played together, and as a team, and obviously, we played some decent amount of cricket, and then fast forward 10 years later, we are much older now, with the beard and a lot of probably grays that we're trying to hide. Now we
Yeah.
have our own podcast with wrong ones back in the mix again.
Yes, and we'll try to get our team back as well, as and when we progress and get more people, and we'll have all those 7 to 8 players who played with us for last man as well. So most of them are around. So yeah,
Yeah,
even
maybe. Yeah, that's a good idea. Actually, we should just probably invite them. Even all of them can't join at the same time. Maybe
yes,
we should bring them in as a guest for one of the sessions each going forward,
yeah, yeah.
and try and revisit some of those times with wrong ones.
Maybe on a Sunday when everybody's free, we could bring because of the different times, and some might have gone to India, some are here in UK, and naturally you've moved to US.
Yeah,
So yeah, it'll be fun if we have all of them.
absolutely. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But it just kind of spring to mind now. I was thinking about it earlier in the day. I'm how we progressed and starting from the tennis ball cricket to moving on to in the last man stands, and then 10 years fast forward we here. But yeah, so let's crack on, right? So obviously the second test is starting for the Bodagowska Trophy. It's going to be
Yeah,
day and night in Adelaide. So initially, obviously, it's obvious, but Rohit back in the mix, and we have Gill. So let's start with initially, your top order in terms of who do you think is going to open? Let's start with India first.
okay. Uh, yeah, like when the match which the Perth one, right?
Hmm.
Or Rahul and Jaiswal. Even in the first innings, Rahul really played well.
Hmm.
It was a bit unlucky, but he really played. So he's a natural fit to be the all rounder, like to open the innings, right? And then second innings, I think so. It's the best opening partnership for India ever in
Yep.
Australia, and it was not an easy track because especially the first few hours, after these guys batted out Australia, right? So the ball was stemming, and in that track, Gill, sorry, this Jaswal and
Yes, well, yeah.
yeah, and Rahul. batting and playing those overs and that 170 odd runs partnership which they did. I had a feeling that Rohit being Rohit, and if you see my previous comments as well, being a team man, he might go down the order. So I have a feeling Rahul and Jaiswal are going to open, and that's what I predicted, and I see that happening. I think so. There's a news out somewhere.
Yeah,
That,
funny you mentioned that, and I'd give credit to you on that because I know post the first test when we connected, you were mentioning this in terms of you can see Rahul continue to open, and then Rohit might go down the order, and from what I'm reading as well, I think he might potentially bat in the middle order. Yes.
So Rohit is, he has that knack of knowing what's good for the team, right? That's why he's a very good captain. And even Dhoni was that, right? He used to drop down, and when he knew that he had to go up, so that's why they're they're very similar in nature as captains, and selfless players, selfless, like they would just go out, and so he giving Rahul a chance again at the opening slot where Rahul was not supposed to play. Everybody was, there's no injuries, and if Rohit was, he would have played the first test, then we wouldn't have seen. But it's good, he deserves the chance. And KL Rahul is like a good, very good test player compared to the T20, and I believe he has the skill of, and he's done comparatively really well, at the opening slot, right? So it's a good thing he's, if they're going to stick to that with the same thing, 8 pink ball test, ball swinging around, Rahul has a good chance to survive, right, compared to Rohit.
Yeah.
Right, and then Rohit coming down the order, and his new aggressive approach of playing like a one day or a T20, the way he plays, older ball, when there's less swing, the bowler's a bit tired. Rohit is more suited for that role, if you see that. So he can accelerate the innings if he wants. Plus, he also has the capacity of scoring those big runs. When he debuted in his test, he scored the 200 and the 100 runs. If you remember in India, and so he debuted somewhere on the middle order. So it'll suit his game much better now. So it's a good thing. I hope they continue like KL and Jaiswal gets for the entire series now. They need to open up. Play that opening role, and Rohit plays middle order. So definitely. At number 3, then Gill. Is there any news on Gill not playing?
He's definitely playing is what I've heard. He's definitely going to be in the playing 11. The question is, obviously something, Gill should bat at 5 versus others think, Rohit should bat at 5. But like you just mentioned, I think, Rohit might just obviously, off to the middle order. So yeah, Gill might potentially fill in the number 3 slot.
Yeah. So 3 is Gill, right? And 4, naturally the GOAT, Kohli. Facing the previous GOAT, Sachin, at 4. So then 5, and I have a feeling either Rohit or Pant, but Rohit being Rohit, he might put Pant at 5, why Pant has that thing, and Rohit comes at 6. Right. The 7th slot is where it's slightly tricky. So there's Nitish Reddy. Then there's Sundar. Also, there might be a change in that Jadeja might come in.
Okay. You can Jadu might walk in for someone like Washington Sundar? Yes. Okay.
Jadu is, especially because it's a pink ball test, right? He has better defense, right? I don't see Quinn coming in because they want to have, because both sides will be able to take wickets, right? The is really good, both sides, right? It's how good are the batsmen, especially in night cricket, right? So strengthening your batting would be a concern maybe for Gambhir and Rohit. So they might bring in, if they want to bring in all-rounder, like a spin all-rounder, right, who has a better technique, can survive those conditions. It's Jadeja. He's done that in England. Yeah, he's got a century here. So Jadeja, I think so. This is my feeling because of the day-night ping ball here. So Jadeja might come in.
So you're saying Jaddu is going to replace Washington Sundar?
That's my thinking.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm just making sure if it's Washington or Nitish Reddy. So Jaddu is going to walk in at number 7. Okay. Yeah.
And I think so. Nitish is playing.
Yeah, he's going to keep his place. Okay.
Because it's a day-night. The ball swings.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and this is not India. Like where even when we had a ping ball test with England,
mm-hmm.
Not the one when Jaddu was in Georgia first test series.
Yes.
So in Ahmedabad, right, during the COVID times,
mm-hmm.
They had Akshar, right?
Yes.
With the ping ball day night. So different pitch, turning tracks. Then you might bring in Ashwin or something, but this is like Adelaide, Australian pitches. I don't see Ashwin coming in, replacing Sundar. If that's the case, then Ashwin won't be there.
Yeah.
Because if you're taking 4 fast bowlers, I think so the first 4 fast bowlers should do the job. It's fine, day night. Yeah. So I think it's Jadeja. That's my feeling. Let's see what happens.
Okay, yeah. Of course, yeah.
The next 3-4.
So Nitish Reddy walks in at number 8, and then you have your 3, paces. So obviously Bumrah your pick. Yeah.
Siraj
will continue. Okay.
Will continue, and I think so they'll stick with Harshit.
He should still with
they will stick it because he like. Frankly speaking, I would bring in Akshdeep.
Akashdeep, you mean?
Akashdeep, yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah. So it's Akashdeep, yeah.
Yeah.
I would bring in Akashdeep into the mix.
Yeah.
He has better control.
Mm-hmm.
More of like Josh Hazelwood with his line and length. If you see his swing bowler,
yes,
he would swing the ball, and the ping ball swings a lot because of the extra lacquer on top, right? So, yeah, like that would be my team.
That would be a potential 11. So essentially, the changes from the first test, according to you, is Rahul Gill walking in, Rohit Gill walking in, Rohit batting in the middle order, and then potentially Jaddu will replace Washington Sundar, and then you would like to see Akashdeep in place of Harshit Rana.
Yeah. But I don't see.
I'm in agreement, right? The only catch for me for that team is the only change I didn't see coming from my end is I think Washington Sundar might still keep his place. Only reason and my thought process is, his high end confidence. He's done exceptionally well for India over the last 6 to 8 months, and someone who can get a lot of purchase and bounce with his height. So I still personally think he'd probably keep his spot over Jaddu. But yeah, I'm with you on Akashdeep. I think Akashdeep has a better control, and I think he's better suited for the ping ball test. But yeah, let's see how things progress.
Yeah, that they might continue with this thing, but me, especially with Jaddu, he's a good test player, right? And if you last 10 years,
yeah,
both he and Ashwin have built them, and Jaddu has built them out even in really tough conditions in England, in South Africa, wherever he's played.
Yeah.
So, and India does not have a very good memory of a ping ball test. The last they played, they got all to the second innings. So that would be a concern for them, right? For everyone, actually, it would be a concern. So so that's why I think Jadeja being Jadeja, right? That's the only reason.
Yeah, he brings some experience as well, right? So that will probably help someone like Rohit as well. Like, so yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Is ready, and you have like 2-3 down, like quick. Nobody has played the ping ball test, right? So, but let's see what Rohit and Gambhir decides, right? But that's
yeah, that's a playing level for India. So yeah, let's quickly look at Australia, right? Obviously, a lot of pressure on them. I don't think they sort of anticipated the way the series is going to start for them, and obviously the way India came back in the second innings, and then obviously the massive defeat of 290 odd runs. So there's a lot of pressure on them to really deliver in this test. And unfortunately, for them, from what we hear in Hazelwood, the most consistent and probably the best bowler in the first test is ruled out. And then also I'm hearing some comments around Mitch Marsh as well. Probably not 100% for the test. So yeah, let's see. So primarily let's start with the top order, right? Obviously, McSweeney really struggled in the first test. Would you continue to keep him in the squad, or are you thinking a replacement, or swap him around in the order?
Um, I think so. They're not going to swap around, right?
Okay.
I don't see them swapping around. He'll get another chance.
Right.
That's my thing. So
you think Kawaja and Sweeney?
Khwaja opens
Okay.
by default, right? Is one of the best openers they have. So Khwaja opens. You have the other guy, forgetting his name always.
McSweeney.
McSweeney.
Nathan McSweeney, yeah.
And Nathan. So he opens
Mhm.
with with Khwaja.
Mhm.
Then Labuschagne at 3, which is Steve Smith. Travis had a good outing, so he'll still stay.
That's a top 5, yeah. Mhm.
Mitch Marsh, Alex Carey,
Mhm.
Cummins, the captain.
Yeah.
And then the 2 bowlers, right? So Stark
9,
plays. Yeah, Lion.
10.
And
Yeah.
Hazelwood is injured, so and the other additional, when we had Boland, right? So
Mhm.
Boland would be. So Boland is somewhat similar to Hazelwood in terms of swing ball, right?
Yeah.
His speed is a bit less, but
Mhm.
but yeah, he's a good replacement with the experience he has.
Of course, yeah.
But yeah, as I told you, right, they could have bought a really good fast bowler or something, right?
Yeah, funny. I don't know if you've had a chance to kind of follow my prediction like a couple of days ago that I did by myself. But yeah, Scott Boland is actually a like to like for Hazelwood, but the consistency that Hazelwood brings, I don't think anyone could match that.
No,
Then also, I was also thinking they could have absolutely explored a new fast bowler that India hasn't played before. It could be the X factor, and that's where I was also kind of leaning towards. So if Mitch Marsh is not fit, they're also looking at another all rounder in the name of Webster. So apparently Webster's he's just like over 30 years now, but he's
yes.
been around in first class cricket for a long time, and he's like to like replacement for Mitch Marsh. He kind of balls at medium pace, and yeah, he can actually whack the ball as well.
What's happened to Cameron Green? Because he was a good bowler and a good
Yeah,
batsman.
he was actually a good pick for last summer, but I think some of the injuries and his form also kind of fell apart a little in terms of he wasn't scoring as much as they would like. So I think that's where he is not in the squad any longer. Is what I'm.
He was not part of the squad, but if they're replacing Mitch Moss, right, they could bring in Cameron Green as well. He's got
Yeah.
the experience, got the bowling.
Mhm.
Um,
Unless he's not fully fit, I don't know. I can double check. But yeah, from the fitness
and
standpoint, maybe
I think
that's the concern.
for
Yeah,
this one, they're definitely going with Mitch Marsh.
yeah.
Like I didn't read anywhere that he's not going, but
Mhm.
the other thing is I don't know. Do you think they could put Travis Head to open with?
That's another piece. The reason I asked you that question at the top of the call is that's one of the reasons. So again, pointing back to my prediction a couple of days ago. That's what I would like to see. Because for someone like Bumrah, who is the name tag itself puts so much pressure on someone like McSweeney to open, and then for him to face one his first test, first series, is actually batting, top of the order, which he hasn't done. He batted in the middle order before for his first class, but he's never opened for Australia or even in first class cricket, is what I've learned. So for him to open and face the likes of Bumrah and Siraj, is not ideal. So that's what I was leaning towards. Head he's scored some runs, he's high on confidence, he's used to opening in the shorter format. So maybe they could have looked at Head to open and slot in someone like McSweeney at number 5. That
Yeah.
gives him some opportunity to settle in, not necessarily have to face the likes of Bumrah right from ball girl. But yeah, that was my thought process.
Yeah, and Travis Head is something like a you can say like a David Warner or a
Yeah,
Sehwag, right? If you get going, then you get going, right?
absolutely.
And then you can literally get your line and length,
Yeah,
So like how you have the English players as well, right?
yeah.
Jack and who's the other guy who really goes out fully?
Harry
Um,
Buchanan.
Ben Duckett, right?
Ben Duckett, yeah. The openers, yes. Ben Duckett and Jack Crowley, yes. Yeah.
You see, they are very aggressive, right? So Swinney being like, a debutant, and Khwaja is not like an aggressive batsman, right? He takes his time. They could give a try with having this guy, Head, yeah, actually, leading from the front.
Yeah.
It could be a good bet, So if and Swinney comes down in his place.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely a good point, right? But I think the flip side to that is, if they lose him early, then, that'll expose the likes of like, Labuschagne and like, Smith early. Because, Head is like, if he scores big. If not, there's every chance, if they lose him early, then, he's exposing a top order. And
They must
that's no
try.
different with McSweeney as well, right? Obviously with all the pressure that comes with it.
If Swinney fails in this test, right?
Mm-hmm.
So naturally they'll get somebody for Swinney. And
Yeah.
I see him in the next red ball test, not the pink one. The
Sure.
next red ball you might see Head going up the thing.
Yeah.
Because you won't find the swing what we had in Perth, right?
Yeah.
So Head might go up, and then you might get somebody in Head's, like, in Swinney's place. But this should give a try with Head opening the test match.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Yeah, no, let's see obviously how
Runs,
the team stacks up.
300 runs, like if you like an opening partnership with Quasar, right? Even 50-60 runs he provides, right? That actually opens up for Labuschagne, and the line and length is gone. You'll have to change your bowlers and other things, right? So, so that could be.
Interesting. Like, obviously, a lot of ponder for the Australian camps. It'll be interesting to see who they make up, and then who's going to go at the top of the order versus the middle order. Yes.
Yeah, and if you see in Australia, Sehwag put big runs there, right? And same with David Warner, right? David Warner didn't do well in England, but when he came like in Australian pitches, right? So it does not swing much. So that is a good bet actually.
Yeah.
If you see like a Warner or Sehwag, scored big runs. I see they could personally think he should start from Perth itself. They should have not given this young guy. They should have got Head to open. But that's the team calls, right? Good for us if Swinney opens.
Absolutely, yes. Now, fair call. Maybe a quick word on Bumrah. Obviously, he's the real threat for Australia and all the Australian fans. There's a lot of chat around him in terms of I'm actually. I was looking at a quick Insta post earlier where, funny enough, it's actually Bumrah's wife. She does a podcast for India Cricket, and she happened to ask this question to Ponting in terms of how do you face Bumrah? And initially, his reaction was, "I'll step out of the crease, like whacking from ball one and all of that stuff." But he was actually being sarcastic. His view was, it's hard. You can't really do much with that bowler. Like, he's so good right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's at his peak, right? So, and I tell you, it's a very unique action, right? So, after the first test, right, with Bumrah getting the man of the series and taking those 8 wickets, right, there was a lot of chatter on Twitter and Australian fans, right? They've done with Muthia Muralidharan and all that talk, calling him a chuck bowler who chucks.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know whether you've seen that. But I like to explain. There's a difference. Bumrah's action is very unique. Yeah. So chucking is when your arm bends inwards. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bumrah's type extension. So actually his arms bends outwards. Right. So it's more like outwards. Right. So just for everyone to explain everyone. Right. It's not chucking. His hand is more hyperextension. It's outwards. Right. So you can't chuck. Your hand is hyperextended. This is for all Australian fans and the guys who don't like Bumrah, just to let you know, right? Chucking is when you chuck your ball like this and 15 degrees, more than 15 degrees, right?
Yeah.
He's an extension. So just to and because of the hyperextension, he can bowl like a foot away from the natural bowling length or line, or from where the release, the natural bowling for most bowlers, the release from somewhere here. Because of the hyperextension, he can release it a bit further, and that's why it's difficult to pick up his Yorkers, and it's very difficult to pick up his bouncers, right? your Yorkers and the bouncers are coming from the same height,
Yeah.
and you don't,
It's an extra pace.
Yes, and then a yard, right? So on the speed gun, right, it might show that he's just bowling 135, 140.
Yeah.
But because the yard less, like if I, like for example, if I bowl you for 10 yards, you will feel like I'm bowling 150, right? The speed gun will only show like 130. So he's just stealing that 1 yard. So
from rather than 22 yards, he actually facing the same delivery at 21. Then
22 yards is
extra pace, yes.
Right. And people are already like, you can say like 3, 4. So he's just bowling close to like 17, 18 yards.
Yeah.
While the rest of the bowlers are bowling like the 20, 21 yards or whatever, right? So that 1 yard is increasing. You're actually facing at 145 every ball.
Yeah.
And if it's 140 plus, then you're facing him at 150 plus. Yeah. So just what Ponting or anybody wants to understand this, right? It's that bit difficult, right? Your reaction time is that less, and you're not able to pick up the length, right? You can pick up the line, but the length is a big challenge when Bumrah is bowling, and that's why you can look at his videos, you can look at everything, right? You won't be able to find a bowler with that hyperextension bowling a 1 yard less, right? So it's not, that's why they've analyzed him. Like, what do you think? You have all the cameras in the world.
Absolutely, like that's an interesting point you made, right?
Unique.
It's bowling unique action and the pace and everything else. But also, I would like to add, right? Putting all of that aside, all of that is something you can probably process over time and try and find a way. But I think primarily for him, he has a really good head on his shoulders. He knows when to deliver what. He doesn't get carried away with the occasion at all. And we've seen that in the previous World Cups as well, especially the T20 World Cup or a series prior to that. And I happened to mention this, on the previous podcast, when we spoke, right? The guy knows, what he can bring to the table, and he actually is like always like thinking.
Well, for instances, where Bumrah, how clever he was. So 2018, right? This is the 2018 series, right? He got Mitch Marsh out with the slow ball.
Sure.
In the first test when he was that was his first.
Test. You're talking about the Sean Marsh one just before lunch.
Yeah.
He balled the slow ball Yorker. Yes, I remember that. Yes.
And then got Marsh, and then the Lord's one, Ollie Robinson. Yeah.
Yes, Ollie Robinson. Yeah.
Right. So there was no way. It felt like they'll just defend that 60 odd overs, right?
Yeah.
He comes. I don't know. It's around the wicket for right-handers, right? He comes around the wicket basically, or over the wicket, whatever. He comes from this side of
around the wicket for lefties. Yes. Yeah.
He is right-hander, so it'll be
obviously over the wicket. Yes.
Over the wicket, right? So he comes over the wicket and he does the slow ball, right?
Yeah.
And it's out plumb. The umpire does not give it. They review it and it's plumb.
Yeah.
Right. So like a lot of bowlers wouldn't think about it, right? His natural pace, and then suddenly he sends the slow ball. He did that a very similar thing here as well in the first test match, if you would say, in his bowling. So what you just explained about having a head on the shoulders, and he's very mature when it comes to bowling, and if you look in the analysis when I did, when he took that wickets in the first second innings, basically, when they were bowling, right? And I did tell you look at Siraj, you like Harshit, they were bowling back of length, right? Bumrah was up there because he
picked up and trying to get the ball to the top.
He knew the first day he knew where to pitch, and he got those wickets, right?
Yeah.
All those wickets which were reviewed went was hitting the stumps. The ones Siraj and Harshit, the bowling back of length, they were having that Indian bowling length, and the ball going, because Australian pitches will bounce, right?
Yeah.
Right. So you can imagine you had 3 bowlers, 2 of them did not adjust the lines, and it took some time for them to adjust till they came to the 4th innings.
Yeah.
But when Bumrah, when he came in, right, you could just see that. So
it wasn't wasting any time. Yeah.
Absolutely, he knows where to adjust when it comes to his length. Even Shami does not do that. When it comes to England, you see that most of his balls, he'll seam the ball both ways.
Yeah.
But hits the pad, it's slightly above the wicket. So Just to, that's the difference of understanding which pitch, where you're bowling, what your length will be. So line can vary, but your length on those pitches, right?
Yeah.
Very to get those wickets, especially plum ones, especially in the beginning of your new ball swinging around. Absolutely. So Bumrah is like class apart. So it's not about his action. Yeah. It's you can have that unique action, and you can just give.
Yeah, I was about to say. I think that's where it makes a difference, right? It's not just the action, but
it's about like
the
having
process and like how he sets up like batsmen.
Your line, what batsman from which angle to bowl. Right? Yeah. Sometimes see the left-hander, he'll come from over the wicket, then he'll go around the wicket. He'll if he sees that this guy is just leaving the ball, let him play. Right? Yeah. So he switches around. So a lot of bowlers are I'm comfortable only in one line. I don't want to get runs. They're not thinking about like to attacking. Yeah, he traps them. Traps. So. Clearly, man, he feels like
absolutely. I'm like really looking forward to his spell. Like it depends what happens with the toss.
Especially with the pink ball. Did Bumrah bowl any pink ball tests? Do you remember?
Did Bumrah
play any pink ball tests?
I don't recollect. In fact, I can't remember if he was part of the squad when India played the test, but definitely wasn't part of the squad when they toured Australia the last time. Is what I remember.
He was injured. He was not part of the.
He wasn't part of the playing 11. Yeah, so I doubt he played any. But yeah, let's see how it goes tonight.
2018, there was a four test series. I don't know. We didn't have a pink.
Yeah, I didn't think we had a pink ball test where he took part. But yeah. Quick word on the Australia, or especially with the middle order. A lot depends on Labuschagne and Steve Smith.
So Steve Smith is a bit. So they're doing some analysis on Steve Smith and Labuschagne, right? About the way they played before and they have changed the stance. Steve Smith in second innings, he just completely changed his stance.
Yes.
Naturally, he didn't score that runs, but he was able to play those 60-odd balls.
Yeah.
Right? So that pressure also is there in terms of the run scoring, right? But if he's like, he's a good batsman, right? He understands like those 60-odd balls would have given him a lot of confidence.
Sure.
Right? Not have got the runs, but staying there for there's like 10 overs, right? Would have given him that confidence that, it's just like some runs away to go. So he found a way on that tricky pitch, right? But yeah, it's a pink ball test, right? If they move around like how they did, they'll get trapped. So
enough. One last thing. So around the toss, if India wins the toss, what do you think they should do?
So day night, right? It swings more just before the sun sets, like around just after the sun sets, right? Just before the light comes in.
Yeah.
Even in India, it was seeming around.
Yeah.
It's more the same. It'll seem around in India. The World Cup.
Yeah.
It's just when the light comes in, right? And the time changed for. So I think so. They should bat first.
They should bat first.
They should bat first, like So if something goes wrong, then you'll have that twilight, like to actually as a sunset. Sorry, no twilight. So the sunset, you might be able to get a chance there.
To, attack as
well. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, really looking forward to. So, what time is the match starting? Like,
it starts 11 p.m. my time. So I think that's like 5 hours ahead for you guys. It's like 4 in the morning.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 4 a.m. for you guys. It's like another 3 hours for me, 3 to 4 hours. So
yeah, I'll set up an alarm for 5.
Yeah, you should absolutely get some rest. Decent sleep before the match. But yeah, great connecting with you, Pank. Hope we get some sleep, and we'll probably connect in a couple of days' time, depending on how things progress for day 1 and day 2. Okay.
Yeah, then we can catch up, like maybe.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Good call, man.
Yeah, have a good one. Yeah. Good night.
That's fine. Good night, man.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.